What do you think of when you think of a protest? I mean, there are some obvious, and these are sort of archetypal, stereotypical images that we have when you think of to me, it's usually a pasty white bloke up a tree with his dreadlocks tied to an owl. You've seen that many times over. His mates on the ground have gone centipede bound by chaining themselves together in a long line, and that can't be pleasant if you think that they usually exist on a diet of lentils. Put that to one side for 1 second. Across the way, the other's gone old school. He's whipped off his cax and superglued his testicles to a police car. Some are up trees, some are in tunnels, others are clamped to the pavement. Most are single men. There's usually a hippie couple in there as well, though. There's always a hippie couple who've dedicated their lives to saving the planet, usually by smoking half of it. Here comes Willow and his girlfriend Moonteeth. We've seen this time and time again. And then you notice when the protests get a little bigger, a couple of things happen. When the protests get bigger, medieval instruments start to show up. Have you noticed that? There's usually some banging on weird drums and someone playing a lute. And then, amidst this soup of hippiness, some middle-class bloke pitches up out of nowhere.
What's your name?
I'm just a father of 2 children that's very frightened of their future.
How old are your children?
They're 10 months and 4 years.
You okay?
Yeah.
No. I'm getting the flag off you.
Can you see a picture? Those are the picture of your children?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really at this point we have to cut that because he starts to cry because he thinks the planet's going to die and his little ones. Well, where did he come? You got the full set there, by the way. You got middle class man, drums and chants, and I think I did spot a little random lute in the background as well. And all that was missing really was a famous actor. Cue Emma Thompson.
I've been with Greenpeace to the Arctic twice. I've stood on the bare glaciers. I've seen the plastic in the oceans. I've seen evidence.
Have you been to the mountaintop, Emma? That was all that was missing from that. She's seen the evidence. That was Emma Thompson, who jetted in on a rocket, if you remember, to preach the dangers of climate change. And we've seen quite a lot of this. I'm intrigued. Genuine question. Do protests work? Now, you're going to straight away come out the traps and say, do you know what? Actually, suffragettes, threw themselves in front of a bunch of horses and died for their cause, and women got the vote. Women and some men who previously didn't get the vote got the vote, etc. So the suffrage kind of worked in that respect. 0344 499 1000. When I think of Swampy is the guy that's currently in a hole protesting against HS2, and there's a lot of people that don't want HS2 to happen. HS2 just seems like a massive waste of money. We all sit back, don't we, when you hear the analysis. This is a couple of years ago now, when they first announced HS2, London to Manchester. And what's London to Manchester take right now? It's 2 hours and 4 minutes, Ricky, I reckon. Euston to Piccadilly, I think it's about your fastest, 2 hours roughly on the nose. And they announce HS2, and you think, wow, what's it going to take, 15 minutes? And they go, oh yes, when we get this thing up and running, it won't be 2 hours and 4 minutes. It'll be 1:59. And you think, what? So what? What? You're shaving 5 minutes off the time? Damn it, what's wrong with you people? If you're going to do all of that, then I want at least 50% shaved off my journey time. Never seems that significant. Nonetheless, so whatever you whether you're against the particular issue of HS2 or anything else for that matter, just burying yourself in a hole in the ground, would it be reasonable to say that Swampy's quite late to the party? I mean, in the sense that they've been digging this thing and started this thing for a while now, as far as I know. And there he is under the ground. He took his son with him this time. So if you're older than the age of 30, you might remember Swampy back in the day when he was trying to stop a bypass happening. Where was that? Was that off the M4 somewhere? Was it Reading Way? I'm tempted to say, in that neck of the woods. And he went up a tree that time. So he's gone from going up the tree to going underground. This is his modus operandi is quite random in that respect. So up the tree for one protest. I don't know what he did for 20 years. What did Swampy do for 20 years? My guess, looking at him, listening to him, is absolutely bugger all. I think Swampy did nothing. That's my guess. What Swampy did next? Nothing. Nada. A big fat rien. Swampy was idle for 2 decades, and then he's returned in the ground, and he took his son with him, and his son had to be, I don't know if he dragged out or voluntarily came out. I think he got the aches He voluntarily came out because he got the aches, I think, and they put him on a stretcher as well. So you've got everything that's going on with COVID and resources, scarce resources. And you've got the Swiss family Swampy utilising the emergency services because he's got an achy back because he's been in a hole. Lesson, don't get in a hole, Swampy Jr., you little bad swampette. Stay out the holes, fella. I don't think for 1 second he's about to change the plans for HS2. I don't think Swampy is about to change them, his old man, either. I don't think all the others that are either down there, around there, in tents, hanging around, chanting, singing, smoking, whatever the heck it is you do when you're part of that collective over there against HS2. I've got a funny feeling that not only do we know that their protest won't work, I think they know their protest is not about to work. I mean, this is a multi-billion-pound project. It involves large swathes of the country. It involves many, many different businesses. It involves everything from private money to taxpayers' money. There's a lot at stake. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, this is big. The idea that some pack of soap dodgers in a hole in the ground are somehow about to usurp all of those plans, which they've been planning, by the way, for more than a decade, is suddenly going to stop because a bunch of characters jumped in a hole. It ain't going to happen. So do protests ever work in that respect? Thing bigger on this one, Extinction Rebellion. I mean, look what happened there. Was it last summer now? Or was it the summer before, I guess, wasn't it? Really? Or the year before? When they were... We've lost a year, of course, because of the whole COVID thing. When they're outside Parliament causing all manner of carnage. And you know, that idea of, well, we're very peaceful. It's not really good enough, is it? It's not really good enough if you're disrupting ambulances trying to get from A to B, if you're stopping the average person going about their business, if you are impeding the lives of others in a way that is disproportionate and, you know, cannot in any form be justified, then your protest isn't going anywhere. And I concern myself, particularly on the environmental ones, in that it seems to be the same kind of person. What you really want to make an environmental protest change, you want Jeremy Clarkson, really, on the podium saying, do you know what, I used to think this. I was a gas-guzzling maniac. And now I've come over to the dark side. Here I am. I'm Jeremy Clarkson. I don't do motor shows anymore because I've crossed over to matters green. That might change your mind. In the absence of that, I'm not absolutely sure that Swampy, Emma Thompson, Matey, who's crying his eyes out because he thinks everything's going to die and his children won't have a future. Who told him that, by the way? Where did he get this guff from? Greta Thunberg, probably. I mean, I would imagine that's where it come from. I'm the first to... Look, we know there are issues. That's not the point of this discussion. There are massive issues. There are big challenges. Things need to change. And if nothing else, as I always seem to say when it comes to matters green, think of it from a capitalist perspective. The Americans are quite relaxed about this. Many Americans, and Republicans for green, I think they're called, or something of that order, who have worked out that there's a lot of money to be made out of the green initiative, like a great reset almost, where you can, fabulous, build back better and greener and make a shed load of cash in the meantime. I mean, to me, the environmental argument works on all levels. If you are only concerned environmentally, it will work for you. If you want to make some cash, it will work for you. You could take the Christopher Hitchens position. We don't have two planets to practice on, so let's run with this thing anyway. 0344 499 1000. Do environmental protests ever change anyone's mind? I mean, were you watching the news at 10 when that dad was chained to a car and pulled out, crying his eyes out, pulled out a picture of his two kids? And I felt sorry for his kids because I thought in 30 years' time, because yes, the planet will still be there, they've got to go to YouTube and see that. And see their dad, bawling his eyes out about something that really is not going to happen. 0344 499 1000. So there's a whole raft of people we'd like to speak with on this. If you've been there as the protester, whichever side of the argument you crossed from and to, boy, am I all ears at this end. I want to hear about that. Were you one of them and moved out, or were you on the outside and moved in? Extinction Rebellion, anti-capitalism, these kind of things. Does it ever change anything? There is a synergy in these groups of people. You often see the same. If you look close enough, and believe me, in this job I have, you will notice that that anti-Brexit thing, when they suggested that all old white people should die, that thing, they were there. Some of the same faces were at the Extinction Rebellion. They were at the anti-capitalist, anti-banker thing. They're probably at the HS2 thing as well. They seem to do little else. Emma Thompson, of course, is a very important person and a great actress, so she's clearly more authentic and the real deal. She flies in, says her piece, and then disappears again. All hail the mighty Emma. 0344 499 1000. Do protest work. Do protest work. Have you been there, seen it, done it? Cross from one side to the other in whatever form. I'd like to know. But particularly the environment thing, because it's so important that the people you are least likely to listen to, somebody who hasn't had a shower for 3 years, and an 11-year-old girl in, where is she? Sweden, Switzerland, Norway? Where's she from? Greta? Finland? Australia? Jamaica? I don't know. Where's she from, for goodness sake? Where's Greta from? Sweden, that's it, yes. So you got an 11-year-old girl from Sweden, or a bloke that hasn't had a shower for 6 years. That's what we've got to sell us the biggest game-changing argument on the planet. How bad does it have to be, kids?